Hey guys, so it's Luca again with my best friend Ben. We've known each other for 15 years and we want to talk about the modern woman. So, Ben.
Um, we're doing this. We're talking about the modern woman. We're talking about do you feel like the modern woman is fit for marriage?
Everything has shifted since we were like 15. Now we're in our 30s and all this stuff. And some things are very good because people are accepting everything and they are friends and they're friendly towards everything. And that's the beautiful thing. But then another thing that has shifted is the respect that people feel for themselves. Right? Do you
Yeah,
agree?
I think we took shame out of the lexicon, meaning that like people are not ashamed anymore, and it's like sometimes you need shame. Like sometimes you got to shame people into like doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you can't run around like with 1,000 women or even a women with 1,000 guys and not have no repercussions from that. Like people should shame you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just my opinion.
And it's true. Like in the past, we were able to just like go and really like, I don't know if hide is the right word or what we want to talk about. But like we used to have like shame. Not that it's good to have shame, but like we didn't say so freely like now like teenagers do or people in their early 20s do, like just like who they've been with or everything like so freely and they don't care. Not that it's bad, but it's just a new thing for people from other generations, even not that like not people in their 60s or anything, people in their 30s. That's a different generation and that's very far from where we were, right?
Yeah, because we're in a social media generation now. This is a whole different thing for, we old enough to know when there wasn't no social media. So now that there is social media, girls, they can get online and not just date the guys. They used to date the guys in their block. Now they can get a guy from Australia or whatever. If they got good enough pictures, they'll fly him out to another part of the country. You know what I'm saying? So it opened it up. So if your girl on social media, make sure you're checking her stuff.
Yeah, check them out because some people are like catfishing. That's why we have that show, Catfish,
Yeah.
and then always know what you really want. And there's nothing wrong with being open and just like not caring about like how many partners you've been with or whatever, because some people don't care anymore. And that's a good thing, like for the people that don't care, for people who are like very open. But what we're talking about is like people from other generations. And we're not talking about people like again in their 50s, 60s, 70s. No, we're talking about like people in their 30s. It's just like a weird thing for us to just like know people that are like in their early 20s and they just like men and women, boys and girls, and they're like teenagers and everybody. And I have like nephews and they are just like very sexual even at school, and that didn't happen in my time. At least I didn't know about it. If it happened in my time, Ben is an actual like veteran, and then he worked at the school district in Los Angeles, so he can tell you more about what happens with the teenagers now.
Yeah. I mean, teenagers, obviously, I think the difference, and I'm a little older than him, but I think the difference is that teenagers are exposed to way more than we was exposed to. Meaning that, if we watched porn when we was young, it was a tape in our father's closet somewhere that we had to find and steal. These kids now could just pull up porn on their cell phone. You know what I'm saying? So it's not, they're exposed to, way more. And as a parent, sometimes it's hard to monitor all that. You know what I mean? They got a cell phone, they got their little laptop at home or whatever. And it's hard to, when you're working and you're doing all these things, it's hard to monitor everything they're doing and you don't know what they're, looking at. So I just think that they're way more exposed to sexual content and stuff like that now than we were ever. You know what I mean? Like we was actually able to be kids and not even be thinking about that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Until you maybe got in your upper teens because your hormones is going crazy. But when you're like,
Also, the fact, sorry to interrupt you, but the fact that you have actually caught kids like having sexual intercourse, for like lack of a better word, at school, like in the middle of the day, it's just like wow, like it's something that when you're like 30 years old, at least I never saw that in my school, and I don't know if it happened before. I didn't see it, but like it's a new thing, and people like just like not people, the teenagers just like use it as like as a proud thing. It's not something that they're ashamed of or nothing. Not that you should be ashamed of sex, but just like the fact that you don't even care enough to like just go into school and do your deed is like a little weird to like come on and like, you know, you're at school. I mean, what's up? Like, and I've seen teenagers go to school drunk and go to school like they smoke weed before they go to school. They like fill up flasks up like, you know, like liquor before they go to school. And it's like at 7 in the morning. I know, like we're adults and stuff like that, but like I don't want to like you know smoke or drink anything at 7 in the morning. But then he has more experience on that like than me, because I just seen them like because I drive past like a school in the morning when I'm getting breakfast or something like that. But he has actually have to deal with that.
Yeah, I think that I'm a little bit more, you know, when you're dealing with teenagers, especially high school kids, when you're older, sometimes you know you may have pass a judgment, but you know you have to think about yourself at 16. You have to think about yourself at 15. You know what I'm saying? And when you do that, you realize like, okay, you know, maybe it wasn't as explicit as it is now, but you know, I was messing with girls at that age. You know what I'm saying? And you know, but I wasn't doing it at school, obviously. But my point is that you have to remember that you was a teenager, and we all have a different experience. You know what I'm saying? So you have to know that they're going to grow and they don't understand everything that's, you know, involved in what they're doing. But I just think that they have way more. They're bombarded with way more content that, you know, that 11 or 10 or 11-year-old, you know, like I'll mention it now. I know everybody's on this Nas X thing, but I just don't think like a 10-year-old, you know, and I know kids love him, but nobody wants to see a 10-year-old, you know, like watching somebody slide down a pole on a devil's D. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that's way too explicit for a young person to see. I'm not saying he can't do it, but that's adult content. But most of his fans are kids.
Yeah, and I agree. Like he can do whatever he wants, and it's great that people just embrace it. But it's some things are like too far, and it's great that like everybody's just being cool with whatever you do, and they're fans and everything. But you have to know that come on, there's a limit to things, because some people, and I'm not saying that you should care about what other people say to do your thing, but like I'm talking about like preteens. You know, like all these people, like tweens, like they say. And it's like those kids are not ready for this content. They're not ready to do these things. Then they feel pushed to go and do things that they're not ready to do, because otherwise they're not cool. And they like are not supposed to like, you know, they can't hang with you. And they can sit with you. And then that becomes a problem, because then you have kids with trauma. You have kids like having like a teen mom, and all that thing that is not, you know, it's not necessarily the best thing. If it has happened to someone and you have like embraced it and you have like been like successful, good for you. But it's also a thing that, you know, we live in the US, and a lot of people think that the US like only happens in here, like that people are overly sexual, and it's not, because I have a family in Mexico. I have people that I know from different countries, and it happens everywhere now. They don't seem to think that it does, because they don't have teenagers that they can actually have a conversation with. I do. I have nephews that are teenagers. They live in Mexico City, and they're also like sexualized. They actually have sex in school, at school. You know, like it's just a thing that is like very surprising to me. What do you think?
Yeah, no, listen, you know me, I've witnessed all those things, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I witnessed it all. But like I said, I just really, you know, what I've seen is funny, because even, you know, even the Nas X thing, for example, I've seen, I was at a school district for over 10 years, so I saw a whole generation, and I saw the shift. I was there when MySpace was just starting up, and when I left, you know, it was everything, you know what I mean? But my point is that I also saw where gay people would hide around the school and it wasn't an accepted thing, to when I left, they was walking around holding hands. So it's
Which is
accepted,
great.
and it's
That's a
accepted.
great thing that's changed in our
it's
lifetime.
changed, and it's great that it's accepted. But my point is
But
that
then we over sexualize like our like teens, and it's not like a gay, straight, lesbian, whatever, because we embrace the LGBTQ and I community. But it's like we want kids to be kids and teenagers to be teenagers. Of course, we all have like curiosity and all these things that come with age. But it's just like, just hold on a little, because it's worth it. You know, it's worth it for you to just, of course you know who you are, but that doesn't mean that you have to just go and like have like 10 people or go like overly do something. It's just like wait, and I promise you it's worth it. I promise you it's like being with the right person at the right time. It stays with you, and it's just gonna be with you, and that's a beautiful experience, other than just being with someone that you don't even know.
yeah, I mean, you know, and listen, I mean, high schools are, you know, they're, you know, they're young, you know, they're maybe this is probably their first love, you know, and listen, we all been through that, you know, we all been through certain things in high school, but it's just that, like I said, we just have to realize that unfortunately, you know, most people are followers. You know what I'm saying? You only got a handful of leaders, and you know, and you can't act like that. You know, entertainment doesn't, you know, doesn't have an impression on our kids. You know what I'm saying? If their favorite basketball player or their favorite musician is doing things that's, you know, that's not accepted in society, or it is accepted in society for adults, just not kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we just keep the kids in mind. That's my last thing. I just keep the kids in mind.
Yeah, so you know, that's our video for right now. Ben is gonna be back many times because, you know, like I said, is one of my best friends, and I promised you a little bit of lifestyle as well. So we're gonna show you like some like Timothy Alton, like, you know, like stuff, and then some like things that we have done ourselves with our own hands, like that, like, you know, engine stuff, like a table. So we're gonna talk a little bit more about that, and if you have questions, or you have questions for Ben or anything else, tonight we talked about teenagers, but then we're gonna talk about like people that are older or our age, marriage, divorce, things that you know, things that are hard for everybody. So, you know, have a great night, a great weekend, and we'll be back tomorrow. Right, Ben?
Thank you.
Peace.